Don't let her cuteness distract you. This bunny means business. This is Bloody Bunny the game on the Nintendo Switch. Published by DigiPen and developed by Quantum Peaks and DIDTC, this is based on the popular 3D animation Bloody Bunny, The First Blood, made by 2Spot, which takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where human beings have been turned into dolls, including the titular character Bloody Bunny, who is on a bloody path for revenge. And yeah, it only makes sense to make this into a relentless 3D hack and slash game. Wait, did I say relentless? I meant to say aggressive, because this game is all in your face, and it does not give a fuck what you think. So if you're one of those squeamish babies who are afraid of blood and dismemberment, then perhaps you should click on another video, because things are about to get bloody as we dive into the chaotic madness that is Bloody Bunny. So the story of Bloody Bunny is pretty much the same as the original animation story. In fact, some of the cutscenes in this game are in fact scenes taken from the original animation. And yet the game does manage to expand more on the original story by giving us additional cutscenes, as well as variations of the Skull Minions, which the game does have a gallery feature where you actually get the chance to look at all the enemies that you've encountered in the game. So in the game you control Bloody Bunny, who was just turned into a doll after attempting to escape from the factory. Yet she also has a sister who was turned into a doll, whose favorite pastime seems to be getting kidnapped a lot. Yeah, Mokuba Kaiba would like to have a word with you. So I guess that's really the main goal of the game, is to reach the end of the level and save your sister, while also leaving a blood trail the size of the Mississippi River. Yeah, I know that's southern talk, but you guys get it right. Now, the combat of the game is mainly just hack and slash your way through enemies. Yet, unlike your traditional hack and slash game where you usually have just one weapon to use, in this game you have 4 weapons to use, which include sword, hammer, boomerang, and throwing knives. So yeah, like a true ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go! And what is unique about the combat of this game is the fact that you will be required to use these weapons in specific situations. Like for example, if an enemy is holding a shield, you'll have to use the hammer and pound him to the ground! Yeah! Got him! Or if an enemy is flying in the air, you'll be resorted to using your boomerang or your throwing knives. Now you will have to use your throwing knife to knock down platforms so that way you can get across certain sections. Now I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't really use the boomerang or the throwing knives throughout my playthrough, and that's mainly because of the fact that the enemies are bullshit. They will swarm you and pound you till you are a bucket of piss. And it's nearly impossible to get away from them, especially given the fact that they move a lot quicker than Bloody Bunny does. Hell, even with the dash move, you can't get away from them. It's like these enemies want to hang on to you for dear life. I hate you, get off of me! Now your weapons do have skills, which can be accessed by holding the R button, plus any of the attack buttons, X and Y. Like with your sword, you can do a spin attack by holding R and Y, which definitely help matters, yet the one thing that I found the most useful is the Rampage Meter, which is indicated by that blue bar. All you have to do is hold the L trigger and you're in Rampage mode, which not only does it deal more damage to enemies, but it also allows you to pull off execution moves a lot easier. And speaking of the execution moves, you can pull off an execution move by simply pressing the R trigger button. Now that's fucking brutal. Now the execution moves are good for one or two reasons. Number 1, it refills your health. And number 2, it refills your rage meter, which you're gonna have to rely on in order to get through this game. Now there are a couple of downsides to using the execution moves. Number 1, there aren't that many execution moves to pull off, and it gets repetitive very quickly. And number 2, it's the only way to regain health as well as fill up your rage meter quickly. Yep, there are no health items in this game, besides the cup of noodles, which doesn't refill your health, but instead acts like a life meter. And it's after you lose all your health, you die and you have to restart from your last checkpoint. Yet the thing about the cup of noodles is the fact that they're so scarce. There are so many empty areas in the game, which would be a good place for a cup of noodles right now, but no, they're not there, and you have to go out of your way to search the entire level until you find some. Which brings me to my biggest problem with this game, and that is the fact that the camera is terrible. No matter how well you adjust it, the camera always moves away from you. It's like it does whatever it wants, and you have no way of controlling it. Now you can adjust the sensitivity of the camera, but I didn't really find it all that helpful because I still had the same problems. And this is especially a problem in the combat section when you're trying to pull off execution moves, as it throws off your sense of direction. And sometimes the camera will just clip through the walls. Lovely. Yet let's get back to the positive stuff. I actually like the level design. Even though it may look really big, it's actually not, as the levels are completely linear and easy to navigate through. Which is a plus for me, because if there's one thing I really can't stand is empty, big levels. Just keep it small if you're not gonna have anything there. Yes, I'm talking about you, ukulele. And also, I really love some of these levels, like the Disneyland knockoff level. And look, they even have the statue. Gosh, I really want to go to Disney World now. And even though I do really enjoy some of these levels, I do have to talk about this section on the train level. The saws! Why? This right here is complete and utter bullshit. Because when you get hit by these saws, you get knocked back. And chances are, you're going to get hit by another saw. Basically, in a normal game, when you take damage, you usually have a few seconds of invincibility, giving you enough time to react to what's coming up ahead. But not in Bloody Bunny. There is no post-damage invincibility in this game, so get ready to die. A lot. Now let's talk about the upgrade system, which you can use the soul points that you collect as currency to purchase these upgrades. You have passive upgrades, skills upgrades, and weapon upgrades. Passive upgrades include your health, rage meter, attack, and executions. Which, of course, in the executions, that doesn't mean you get to do new executions, but the fact that when you perform executions, you can get soul drain, which will give you more souls to collect, as well as fill up your rage meter quicker. As for the skill upgrades, you can unlock abilities for your weapons, like for example, the boomerang armor skill, which will allow you to have a circle of boomerangs surrounding you, and it's perhaps one of the most useful skills in the entire game, because it makes dealing with a group of enemies so much better. And plus, you could just dash into enemies and just take them out quickly. So if you want to stand a chance in this game, I highly recommend you to get all the upgrades for this skill. And then you have the weapon upgrades, which will increase the attack of that weapon. Now, by unlocking every weapon, it does make the game fare out a little bit, yet the game is still difficult, especially when you're fighting the bosses. Which some of the bosses I found to be rather easy, and some that are just a pain in the ass, like the kitty boss. Hey, stop with the knives, fuck! And while I did die against these bosses a couple of times, I still managed to beat them by the skin of my teeth. Now, I'm not saying that this game is as hard as Ninja Gaiden Sigma, dear lord, that game still gives me nightmares. Yet Bloody Bunny manages to be aggressive with its difficulty. With all that stuff that I mentioned about the enemies overwhelming you, all the traps and hazards that just take away your health like it's a leech, and the fact that you don't have any post-damage invincibility. Add in a couple of annoying bosses and what you get is a game that packs all the punches and does not let down. Now, I will admire the integrity of the developers for making this game as hard as it is. Seriously, there ain't nothing wrong with having a good old school challenge, but this just isn't the way to do it. Having enemies swarm up against you, dealing with annoying bosses and hazards, does not make for a good challenge. I should also mention that after you beat the story mode, you unlock Endless Mode, which is basically just an enemy rush mode where you have to face a group of enemies in each level, which there are 50 levels. So really, it's not an endless mode. As for the extras, you can unlock the gallery, which you can go back and watch some cutscenes, as well as look at some nice artwork, which I gotta say, that's some good art. And yeah, that's really all there is to Bloody Bunny the game. While I did enjoy beating this game and unlocking everything, I can only say that this game is average at best. The overall graphics and presentation look just like the show, so if you're a fan of Bloody Bunny, then you will enjoy the hell out of this. The music is alright, I guess. I mean, it sounds pleasant to hear, but the only tracks that I really enjoyed in this game was the game start menu and the credit music, and the sound effects are passable at best. That's really all I can say in terms of the sound. As for the combat of this game, as much as I love seeing the red stuff and all the decapitations, and the fact that you have all these weapons to use, it doesn't change the fact that the combat is just slow and repetitive, and it gets kinda boring. And no, adding more executions and ways to kill enemies is not going to make this game more fun. Instead, the real problem is just the combat is just so monotonous and repetitive. And while I do like the way that the levels are designed and laid out, I wish there could have been more to do in these levels, as well as give us some items in these empty rooms. And dear Christ, do something with the saw room, don't make it like this! And I know I'm going to go on a tangent here, but these developers are new to the game, and it's hard to have your work criticized. I completely understand that. But I have to be reasonable with my criticisms here, and I hope that the developers understand that I'm not attacking them in any way, shape, or form. All I'm doing is simply giving my honest critique of the game, and if they don't like my honest critique, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie about my honest thoughts on the game. If I think it's good, I'll say it's good. If I think it's bad, I'll say it's bad. Just because you give me a review key doesn't change anything. I'm still going to be honest at the end of the day. But nevertheless, I would like to thank DigiPen for sending me a review key and making this review possible. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate everything. Now, if you guys want to purchase this game for yourselves, it'll be available on the Nintendo Switch on March the 11th, going at $9.99. Link for this game will be included in the description. Anyways, that's really all I have to say about Bloody Bunny. Let me know what you guys thought of this review in the comments section below, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more game reviews such as this. Anyways, this has been PC, signing off.